Can I confess something? I love my kid. I hate being a mom. I being a parent. Like, I hate it. And I feel bad for saying that, but like, I wish someone would have let people with BPD know that like we really shouldn't be moms. Like, having a kid is too complicated. And I don't want to do it. Like, I don't want to be responsible for this tiny human. I just want to be responsible for myself, and it's too late now. I didn't know Parenthood was going to be like this. I didn't know I was going to be doing it all by myself with no support system, no family, no anything. I didn't know. If I would have known, I would have never done it. I would have never.
Baby, let me tell you something. The absolute vulnerability that you are showing right now is just so awe-inspiring, okay? As a mother of 4 children, I have ages 16, 15, 12, and 8, okay? I have been married to my husband going on 16 years now. And I can sit here and tell you, as a mom, being a mom has been at the absolute hardest job that anybody will ever have, okay? Hands down, you're constantly worried about them. You're constantly worried about how you going to feed them, how you going to clothe them, how you going to, the education of, making sure their education is good. You know what I'm saying? You got to make sure that ain't nobody messing with them at school. You got to make sure that, you know what I'm saying, you teaching them the ways of life, because not everybody's going to like your kid the way you want them to like your kid. You know what I'm saying? You always got to make sure that you're the one that's always uplifting them and giving them everything that they need. But then on the back end, you, as you've already mentioned, you ain't got nobody in your corner to help you out. So you just literally getting bled dry right now, okay? You are being bled dry right now, and it seems like everything is compounding on you all at one point. And I can sit here and I tell you right now, baby, I understand exactly how you feel, because everybody else is feeling like that too. But because of you, a lot of other mothers are gonna feel like they are seen, because they see that everybody is going through this. Other people go through this, okay? Motherhood is not easy, especially when you don't have somebody else in your corner to help you out. Maybe you don't have adequate daycare, or, you don't have health care, or you're having issues, financially and everything like that. And everything is coming down on you all at one time. You are the breadwinner. You're the one that needs to make sure that they are okay. You're the one that's doing everything. You got to go to work and then find somebody else to take care of your kid and all this other stuff. There's so much stuff that's going on right now. But I can sit here and I can tell you right now, baby, that you are the absolute best mother that you know that you can be, because of the simple fact that you are crying out for help right now. And I hope that this video, I know I'm going on a little tangent right now, but I hope this video is giving you a little solace in the fact that you are literally sharing what needs to be shared so you can heal. Okay, baby? Okay? Where do you live? All right, we need to get you a support group, okay? In whatever area that you in. If you want to send me a DM, baby, feel free to do that, okay? Because I'm going to see what I can do to help get you some help, okay? Because you need a reprieve. You need somebody that's safe, that can watch your baby while you go get your nails, your feet done, your hair done, something. Maybe go on a vacation, I don't know, okay? But hit me up, please. But baby, listen. I say all that to say, as I understand how you feel. I understand how you feel. And trust and believe when I say there's going to be more troubles and woes to come. However, when you look at that baby, and that baby smiles at you, and when that baby grows up and says, Mama, thank you for everything you did for me. I know it wasn't easy, but you did it. Thank you. That right there is when all of it's going to be worth it, because it's already worth it. You just can't see it right now. It's already worth it. Okay? So try your best to not stay there too long. Try your best to find a way to find happiness with what you're in right now. Okay, baby? You're going to be all right. And that baby going to be all right. Hit me up.
That was a pretty tough video there. What you got to say about that?
That was, first of all, I really truly hope that first mom gets the support that she needs. It breaks my heart, but at the same time, I totally understand. I can't fully understand, because one of the things she said was BPD, which is, and I'm assuming here there's it's bipolar disorder. So she's dealing with single momhood in addition to having a mental illness. And that is a lot. Just being a mom or a parent all by itself is a lot. And then you add to that being a single parent with no support and having a mental health issue, and that's a lie. And I sit here as a very happily married woman with no financial concerns, who has a village. It's small, but it's still a village, and I still struggle with being a mom, because it's like the other one said, like, you're constantly worried about something. Am I doing enough? Am I not doing enough? Am I doing too much? Am I overthinking? Am I underthinking? Am I missing something? Can y'all stop touching me and calling me? Even this one follows me around the house like a lost puppy sometimes. And you sometimes, you don't. I love you. You do. I love you, but you do. I don't even know what to say to that. Like, you can say that it's going to get better over and over and over again. And as much as I believe that, it doesn't change the fact of the right now, right? Because right now, this is where I am, and I have to live in my right now. And it's a lot to swallow. It's a lot to manage, but it's one day at a time. That's all you can really do. I had to go out the other day and just sit in my car for a little while just to have a me moment. And that's with the support of a full husband, a village around me, and all of those things. So my hat goes off to all single parents, because it's not an easy job. I don't pretend to know what it's like, but
did she say she was single?
She did. She said she was doing it alone.
Oh, okay.
She was doing it alone with no family and no support.
Oh, yeah, she did say that. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate. And listen, I'm not a mother, so I can't really chime too hard on this.
You can speak as a parent, though.
As I will say this, I think that a great deal of men don't really understand this, because I, for the most part, I understand, but then I don't understand at the same time, because I can look at this video and hear what she's saying and somewhat sympathize, but on the other end, I don't.
Why?
And I'm going to tell you, well, the reason why is, one, nobody is really, unfortunately, most people aren't taught how to be parents. A lot of sugarcoating, and there's not a lot of leadership or guidance that's given to us, especially in the millennial generation, from the older generations. Because if we being honest, a lot of them didn't know what they was doing either, because they didn't receive whatever they were supposed to receive. And the generation before that, because of everything trickling down from certain hardships and things that had happened. So many of us, because she said, and the reason why I'm saying this is because she said that if somebody would have told me, well, nobody's being told.
But in truth, I think even if you say it out loud, it doesn't hold a candle to what it really is to be solely responsible for another human's life.
I understand that. But again, I think because when you, it's so many different things. It's a sad video, a sad situation in general. But as I sympathize, I have certain issues with what's being said, on both sides. You know what I'm saying? To me, and it's going to sound insensitive, I'm sorry, but I don't think anybody needs to tell anybody that if you have a mental disorder, you shouldn't be a parent. That's just me.
So you think people with mental disorders just should not have kids?
That's not what I said.
I'm asking.
Nah, I'm totally
trying to clarify.
It's totally up to them. But to me, if you have a mental disorder and there's an issue where you're not going to be yourself the majority of the time, or small bit of the time, or median, somewhere in between. If you're not going to be yourself, then how can a young adult, a tiny human, figure out who their mother or who their father is in that scenario? That can't be easy for the child. If you don't have a handle on that, then how can you properly parent in that situation? Not to say that some people with mental disorders can't parent, but I would venture to say that would be very difficult, not for you, not only for you as the parent, but definitely for the kid, because the kid don't really understand. No, the kid doesn't understand what BPD is. Kid doesn't understand what schizophrenia is. Kid doesn't understand any of that. So in that scenario, if to me, this is just me, in my opinion, if you are in that particular realm, then I think that you should do a very long, drawn out process of trying to figure out whether or not bringing another human life into this world is smart. Because personally, you can't really gauge how the kid is going to react into that situation. You don't know how that would affect the child, and you really don't know how it's going to affect you. If you've already been having issues without having to take care of another human life that you created, then chances are you might begin to have other issues as a parent. And let's take the BPD out of it. I think, and if you look in the comments, a lot of women were coming and they were just like, we totally understand. We feel the same way. We feel the same way. Hey, listen, I don't really know what to think about that, because I think it's rather unfortunate, because if everybody's feeling the same way, if y'all are all suffering, then what's happening with the children? Because you can't mask that all the time. It's no way to. You're human. Kid is a human, and they don't understand what the heck you got going on. I don't personally think that children really fully understand what the heck they got going on. So for you as an adult to have been on this earth for decades, how in the world can they understand or cope with whatever you got going on? You're human again. You're going to go through things. But I think one of the other issues that kind of put me in this headspace to say what I'm saying now, the second woman came in and she was just like, being the mother is a hard job. Maybe that's the issue. Maybe we shouldn't be looking at it as a job, because what do you look for on a job? You look for benefits, you look for pay, and you look for things being rewarding, some way to help you be able to take care of your life, any other obligations you have. That's not what a parent is. That's not what a kid is supposed to bring you. Of course, to me, it's rewarding to watch them grow and watch something that you created and birthed out of your body, grow. That's rewarding to me. But again, like I said, I can't really understand this coming from a mom's standpoint, because I didn't birth the child. But what I can do is understand that being a parent and raising a child 24/7, it is difficult. But I'm not going to look at it like a job. And maybe I'm just playing semantics. Maybe they don't actually mean it's an actual job. But if you, the thing about semantics is, if you verbalize something in a certain way, using words with certain definitions, the mind is powerful. It'll have you think about that definition and try to tie it into whatever you're saying. So if you think it's a job, then you're going to be looking for job aspects coming from whatever you think is a job. And that's not how it works. That's to me. And then the other thing is, while I do love the support, that was fantastic. Because a lot of times you have women out there and they clash and they don't like each other. But the fact that so many women were coming to support her, I think that was fantastic. But one thing that she said in the video was, "You are the best mom." We don't know this lady. We don't know her. We don't know what type of mom she was to say that she's the best mom.
I think she said something like she was the best
She
mom
could
she could be.
Yes. But we don't know that either. We don't know anything. So for me, what I would say in that situation is, try to focus on the good, like she ended the video off. Try to focus on the good that you can feel from that situation. Look at that beautiful child that you created and look at it that way. But what I'm not going to do is sugarcoat, parenting, because again, it is a very time consuming and sometimes difficult thing to do, because you got a personality and those children have personalities, and sometimes those personalities clash. And unfortunately, we have to figure out a way to allow our personality to kind of, for lack of a better word, work with the other personalities. You find a way to work with other personalities while you're on your job, while you're out in public. You're not out fighting everybody.
But I don't know that her situation is not working with personalities. It sounds more like it's the responsibility of it all.
Yeah, but I think personalities play a part in that though too, because while you are responsible for this child, and maybe I'm tripping because maybe the child is like really, really young and hasn't, produced the personality in the form of what I'm thinking a personality is. And maybe it is just, I can't go anywhere, I can't do anything. And maybe this is just a situation where this is just a postpartum woe. I don't know, because I don't know how old the kid is. But yeah, I think that this is a very unfortunate thing to listen to witness, and I do think that we have to do a better job of preparing the younger generations for parenthood and allowing them to see, allowing them to understand, or try to get them to understand what would be needed in parenthood and what to expect, and not just be telling the younger generation don't have kids, which I feel like a lot of times that's what happened with the generation ahead of us. They just told us, you better not get pregnant. But then you got the other part of the generation that was like, when you gonna give me some grandbabies and stuff like that.
I think that's all about age. But I want to talk about how we prepare the younger generation, but I also want to back up a little bit. I don't agree with you that people with mental illness should not have kids. I think that if your mental health issue is under control, that is what you said.
I didn't say that they shouldn't have kids. I think they should take a very long, deep dive into whether or not they would be fit or they should be having kids. That process needs to be long and drawn out.
Okay, I agree with that part. But I think that if your mental health concerns or your mental health issues are under control and they're stable, I think that is feasible. Unfortunately, what you run into, especially if we're talking about somebody with bipolar, you get into a manic state and you make bad decisions. That's literally what a manic state is. So unfortunately, that I don't know her situation, but when you talk about mental illness, that is something that can happen. Your mental is not where it needs to be, and so decisions are made that are not necessarily sound. But when you run on a very thin line of control when we start talking about, well, if you have mental illness, then maybe kids aren't the best thing for you, and I don't want to.
There's no control here, because in order for
no control from you,
right? But
like we start talking about forcing people to take medication and forced sterilization and stuff like that,
and that's not what I'm saying.
Okay,
and that's why
I just want to be sure.
That's why I put the onus on the person to do the long, drawn out process of thinking about whether or not they should be having children or not. It's on that person. In order for control to be in place, there needs to be an authority in place forcing you to do something. That's not what I said. If you have a situation where at the drop of a hat will cause you to make a very bad decision, especially when it comes to children or human that you created, then that's a problem. And you probably should have thought a little bit longer and harder on whether or not you should be having kids. You may want them.
I think a lot of people need to think longer and harder about whether or not they have kids.
That is correct. But
mental health disorders or not.
That is correct. But we're talking about this in the realm of this video. Yes. But we can broaden it if you want to. No. But yeah, people need to actually think long and hard about this situation. I do feel, that this was, again, a sad situation because here's the other issue with this. The internet exists, and the internet is not going anywhere. And what you say on the internet typically doesn't go anywhere. So in these types of situations, You can say that, oh, we see you and we feel you, and this is the greatest thing that you could have done, just, putting this out there. Well, if you're seeing it, what happens when the child sees it? Because I wouldn't want to see a video years later of my mom on the internet talking about, I hate being a mother and I hate this, and then getting a lot of support from other women. I wouldn't want to deal with that. That would make me feel like crap if I was the child of that mother.
I think seeing it as a child would definitely not be a good thing. I think that would definitely hurt the child. But seeing it as an adult, and especially if you are an adult that is a parent, and maybe you don't understand it fully because you're not a mom, you're a dad. I don't know. I don't know. You can love your kids and still not want to be a parent. Cause I like being a parent. Like, let me back up and make this clear. I enjoy parenthood, but I understand how someone can love their kid but not want to be a parent, because it is a lot of responsibility. And if you're a person that doesn't have the mindset to have all that responsibility, like you don't deal well with a lot of stuff on your shoulders, I can understand how parenthood is devastating to you, right? Not only that, I don't know her background, but you look at these kids who were raised in households or not in households. We talk about kids who grow up in group homes and foster homes, and they don't have that parental aspect or that loving adult figure. So what they're looking for in a child is someone to love them unconditionally without fully understanding all of the rest of it that goes along with it. You have in your mind that this kid needs to eat, and I got to get clothes for it, and I got to teach it stuff. But it doesn't really sink in and click until you literally have this kid in your arms. And now you're realizing, like, all of this is on me. And I can say this now, I understand it and I'm fine with it. But I can remember when we first had our oldest son and they gave me this little baby, and I'm looking at this little baby like, what am I supposed to do with him? Like, I am responsible for his life now. And it was overwhelming. And that was a part of the postpartum depression that I went through. Like, this is a lot just sitting on me. Like, what am I supposed to do now? Mm-hmm. So I get what she's saying. I love him. Like, you are my entire world. I love you. But my God, this is crushing. I'm not you. Mm-hmm. I don't understand how you don't see that.
I didn't say that I didn't see it.
You did. You said you don't understand.
I said I can't fully understand because I'm not. Maybe I can't fully understand because I'm not a mother. But I was talking about exactly what she was saying about how you can't see that in these scenarios you need to think this out and figure out whether or not you should be a parent or not. I can't see telling someone that they're the best mother that they can be when you don't know them. I don't see that. I give you that one. But if we go back to, let's back up to the thinking it out part, because who's to say that she didn't? Because I fully thought out getting pregnant before I got pregnant. Mm-hmm. This was a planned pregnancy. Our oldest son was. There was no, I thought I knew what I was getting myself into, right? We had great careers. We were financially stable. We've been married for almost 3 years. Like, we were in an quote unquote ideal place to get married. Mm. It still didn't stop that crushing feeling that fell on me the minute he was born and placed into my arms. Mm-hmm. And that lasted for some time. Granted, my situation was because of postpartum depression, right, and that has been lifted. Right. But postpartum depression actually lasts for a very long time, longer than a few months or even a few years. Some people never come out of it. Yeah. And so it remains this crushing thing that's on them. Mm-hmm. No matter how much you love your kid, it doesn't take away the fact that you love this kid. Mm-hmm. You're still being crushed. Right. But are we talking about postpartum depression, or are we talking about a lot of women who did not and possibly did not have postpartum depression saying that they don't want to be parents or they hate being a parent? But is it undiagnosed postpartum depression? Is it undiagnosed depression? Is it undiagnosed something else? Are there other things that are contributing to this? Because I don't know. Again, a lot of what she's saying sounds like a lack of support, right? Mm-hmm. That will cause depression. On top of that, she has
a mental issue.
Right.
And then when we talk about all the women in the comments who are agreeing, it's still the same thing. Like you don't know their situation, so you can't fully say, well, these are normal, stable, everyday people, so this shouldn't be it. But you still have this load of responsibility. It's not like in a 9-to-5 job, I'm responsible for some data analysis, and if that doesn't get done, then oh well, it doesn't get done. Meanwhile, over here I got a whole kid, and if I don't raise this kid right, when I send it out to the world, it may destroy the world. Like literally, that's a lot of responsibility.
It is a quite a bit of responsibility, and I think that's where great and upstanding and well thought fathers are needed to have that balance, so that you don't feel the crushing. But feel the smallest bit of crushing, because according to you, you still have the crushing. But again,
Not the crushing, but I just be needing a minute.
No, I'm saying everybody needs a minute. But I'm saying, you had postpartum. Since we don't know what everybody has and whether or not they all had postpartum, because everybody doesn't have it, but they still might say the same thing that you're saying, and because see, the thing about this is, sometimes this is a lack of foresight. And I have nothing to back this up, but I'm gonna say it anyway. I think a lot of times it's a lack of foresight, because if you're thinking about something totally and wholly as much as possible, you don't just think about the good that's gonna come out of it. Well, what about the bad? Am I prepared for the bad? Oh no, I'm not prepared for the bad, so I shouldn't do this. That's a lack of foresight when you don't think about that side of it. Some people might look at me and be like, well, that's just pessimistic. You can't think about the negative. But that's how you make sure you're prepared on all sides. It's a lack of foresight. I'm in this situation because I didn't think it all the way through. This is not everybody's scenario, because some people do have foresight and some people do think things through, and certain things do happen. But at the same point, if you think about things on all sides as much as possible and try to be analytical about the situation, which obviously I understand that a lot of y'all don't have that type of thinking, and that's okay.
Because he overanalyzes everything. Because
you can learn how to do so. That's not something that you can't learn. But again, if you think about things on all sides, well, if this comes up, am I going to be suited for that? Am I going to be able to get through that? Well, you don't know what you're going to do or how you're going to feel until you get into it. You're right. You don't know. However, did you even think about this beforehand? Because there are plenty of stories out there of certain things happening with kids. You know what I'm saying? About parenting. There are plenty of stories. In today's generation, I'll say it like that because, everybody didn't have the internet back then. But see, I like to try to think not only in the box, but outside the box, along the edges, down the street, all that, as much as possible, so that we can try to be prepared. And I think if a lot of people had, certain foresight to try to think about things in the future that could go right and those things that can go wrong, then possibly you'll be a little bit better equipped, and you won't have a situation where, man, that was shocking. I wasn't expecting that. Not saying you should expect anything, because, expectations, you can't really get too far with those. But you can try to prepare as much as possible. I don't think everybody needs to tell us everything to stop us from making, decisions that may put us in a bad place later on in life. But I get what you're saying. I totally understand that, there is a crushing scenario because of the responsibility. Now you don't know what to do.
I don't feel crushed anymore. I'm just
saying. Not right now. I'm saying just in the beginning, you give birth to this human, and now you're just like, man, what am I supposed to? Well, what the heck were you doing beforehand?
I was living life.
Exactly. Lack of foresight.
There was no lack of foresight. We sat down and talked about and planned this thing out. And I took all of your overanalysis into consideration and went with what I wanted.
Took the piece of paper that you wrote all the analysis on, folded it up, and put it somewhere for safekeeping.
Here's the question that I have for you though, right? I'm a pretty well-adjusted person. Would you agree? I'm well-educated. I have a good career. Would you agree? Have a happy, healthy marriage. Would you agree? You don't agree?
Yes.
You get on my nerves. All right, so let's take it back 10 years, right? We're 28. We're deciding now that we want to have a kid. We are happy. We are healthy.
All right. Oh, 30.
No, at 28.
Okay.
We're happy. We're healthy. We're well adjusted. We have plans to raise this kid in a certain way. We've sat down. We've mapped out financial situations for him. We've mapped out emotional situations for him. We've laid all this stuff out. And we go through. We get pregnant. We get through the 9 months, and we have this kid. On the way leaving the hospital, we get into a car accident, and you die, and I am now a single parent.
Did you think about that beforehand? Because I could die at any moment. I could die while you're on the table giving birth.
I could. But do I stop my life and say, you know what, I'm not going to do this because there's a possibility that this man might die?
You absolutely
Or
can.
he might leave me even.
Nope. You don't stop your life to do it, but you do have to decide whether or not, if that does happen, that are you going to be equipped to go forward? And if you don't...
Immediately, probably not, because I just lost the love of my life.
But some people won't be good for a very long time. So again, right. So again, lack of foresight. That's how I view it. Yes, everything is mapped out.
Right, but how could I have fixed this or prevented that situation? Like, that is totally out of my control. And now I'm left with this infant with this crushing responsibility, and I don't have my partner on top of it, which is further crushing.
Yeah. You couldn't fix it after the fact, but before the fact, you have to consider all sides of it.
But how could I prepare for that?
What you mean? You don't prepare for it. You decide whether or not on that spot, whether or not if this happens, would I be good? Would I be able to carry on? Will I be on the internet making a video about how much I hate parenting? Because if the answer to that is no, I won't be able to do that.
The answer in that moment probably is no.
Exactly. So you need to.
But again, you don't know how you're gonna react when something like that happens. I can map it out all I want. I can plan it out. Okay, he dies today. We do this. We have the funeral here. He's cremated there. And we do, but that doesn't mean that that's how it's going to go, right? Because right now my mind is sound. It's where it should be. If you die, all of this soundness goes out the window. Or you leave me, all that soundness goes out the window because this is not what we planned. Yes, we had a contingency plan over here. Shut up. We had a contingency plan over here, right? But emotions are not easily controlled like that. I can't say today, all right, if he dies next week, I'm going to give myself an hour to break down, and then I'm going to pick myself up and I'm going to go and take care of our kids. I can say that all day long. Let next week come and you die. I'm going to need somebody to come get these kids because I'm not going to be able to do it for a little bit.
That would be very difficult.
It'd be difficult for all three of us. And I would do my best to get through it. But me right now, just knowing the thought of you dying next week is devastating.
You better not start crying on this podcast. I'll kill you.
I'm just saying. Right? So 10 years ago, we could have sat down and made out this plan that this is what we're going to do.
Okay.
But then when reality hits, the reality that we now live in hits, all that contingency, it's just there. I still have to get through this reality. And maybe eventually I'll make my way back over to this contingency. But right now, this is the reality that I'm in. And I got to deal with that.
Right.
And that's not always easy. As much as you want to pick yourself, just think back when my grandmother's died. Like, I never in a million years would have thought that I would have been I knew I would be hurt, right? But I was down pretty bad, babe.
You were. But see, here's the thing, right? I think you're doing exactly what a great deal of humans would be doing right now in this conversation. You're confusing me saying that it would be easy with something else. That's not what I'm saying. I didn't say it would be easy. It would be very difficult. What I'm saying is, in the beginning, before you do it, consider everything. All sides, not just, oh, this baby gonna be so cute.
But you're assuming that she did not consider everything.
I am assuming that, but what I am assuming, yes, I am assuming that. However, the majority of human beings do not think about the majority of things that they can encounter because they don't think that it could happen to them.
Because you overanalyze everything.
They don't think that it could happen to them, so they are not prepared. And that's the problem. But unfortunately, while I am assuming she didn't think about all this, I have to go and say that I'm pretty sure that she didn't. Because for her to say somebody should tell people with BPD that they shouldn't be parents, that means you didn't consider the fact that you have BPD and you shouldn't be a parent. Or you may not be the best suited. Though. You don't think she's thought about? You think?
I think that people could have thought things out, and still, when the reality hits, it's still different. It's not what they expected. Just because reality hits and it's not what you expected does not mean that you didn't think these things.
So let me ask you a question. Out of the people that you know that have mental health issues, would you say that their life is easy? Would you say that they would say that their life is easy?
I only know one person with a confirmed diagnosis of mental illness that I can think of off the top of my head. And no, her life wasn't easy. Her life was horrible from childhood, though, long before she was diagnosed with the disease.
Exactly. So when people have these issues, they typically don't usually have a very easy life. It's not going to get easier adding another human being that you are solely responsible for.
But let's take the mental illness out of it.
No, we can't, because that's
Why?
what we're talking about.
But the people in the comments don't have mental illness.
They might.
I don't have a mental illness.
You're not in the comments.
I can't stand you sometimes.
Okay, let's take the mental illness out. Go ahead.
All I'm saying is, like, I chose my career path at an early age. I knew what I wanted to be when I grew up, right? I love my career. Don't get me wrong. I very much enjoy it. However, it sucks. The reality of it actually sucks. It really does. And I thought this all the way through. I even worked in it before I actually got licensed in it.
So you thought the reality of it before you got licensed in and started working in it?
did.
Was that the reality of it was it sucked? You're lying.
The reality of it is that it sucked.
It sucks. That's the reality of it now.
Yes.
But prior to it, you
I had no idea that we would end up where we are now in healthcare.
Exactly.
How could I think about that? Wow.
It's healthcare.
So I thought about it though. I thought it through.
Did you?
Yes.
So you thought that
I have been on this career path since early high school.
So the reality of it, you thought that it sucked?
No, I did not think that.
So you didn't think it through? Because a part of it does suck. And I don't know, anybody that works in healthcare will tell you that it is a big part of it that sucked. And that was before now.
I knew that the death part sucked, sure.
Okay.
But all the rest of the crap that we deal with?
And if you talk to any resident, they'll tell you these hours, they suck. This pay, it sucks.
Definitely.
There are parts of everybody's job.
And even with hearing those people say that it sucks, right? That it's crappy, you are still looking at it with rose-colored goggles because you are not actually in it. You're on the outside looking in. And from the outside looking in, even though I can hear you tell me that the hours suck, the physical labor sucks, right? The diagnosing, the treating, and all of those things, they suck. But I delivered a baby the other night and it was beautiful. And you kind of grasp and hold on to the great things, right? You still know that there's some bad things over there, but you feel like you just exaggerating because you don't appreciate what you have. Here I am on the outside trying to get to where you are. And when I get there, I'm going to appreciate it so much more than you do. But then you get there and reality kicks in and you're like, you were right about so much.
And guess what?
I still love it now.
And guess what?
I still love it.
And guess what?
But you were right.
But guess what? You're proving exactly what I said. Lack of foresight. Because you're seeing this and you're noticing the sucky parts of it and you're still going through with it. You're too busy looking at it with rose-colored glasses on to see the part that you probably won't be able to deal with. The part that's going to be damaging to your psyche, the part that's going to cause mental stress. You're so laser focused on a specific area. And I say that you shouldn't be laser focused on the positive, but positive, nothing is going to be positive forever. And if you don't take into account things that are negative of whatever you're about to do, and you gloss over them because you're too busy trying to get to the positive, then you are setting yourself up, because that's what anything, any kind of dream, any type of goal you're trying to get to. If you're laser focused on the positive, which is great, you got this in your head, and now you're becoming the positive aspect of what you're trying to do, where you're trying to go, right? But you don't pay any attention to the negative, then again, you're setting yourself up, because when those negative things come along and you're not prepared for them, it's very easy for you to be sidetracked. I don't care how laser focused you are. If you have not prepared to feel the pain of the negativity, you're gone. And that's for the average person. You do have the top tier elite type of people that will look at negativity and pain and laugh at it in his face and keep pushing and make it to where they're supposed to go. That's why you don't have a lot of people who make it to their final destination and their goal, because they aren't thinking with enough foresight to be able to have something in place, at least in their mind, that will help them deal with the negative aspects of where they're trying to be. But then you have those people who haven't had the foresight, and they're just beasts. They just power through it. And that's for a lot of these doctors out here, especially those residents. I don't know what y'all doing out here, but y'all crazy, bro.
Can't stand him. If y'all haven't caught on, this is not going to help my fight at all. He is very much a pessimist, and I'm very much an optimist. We are not the same. I look at everything with happiness and joy, realist. And he looks for the bad in everything.
I'm a realist. I look at the positive and I look at the bad. And if the bad is outweighing the positive, that is not enough for me to go ahead and jump off the diving board into this small amount of positive. So the positive would be this small.
And I'm
right
going to
here.
make it. I'm going to make it through there every time.
But everything outside of this little circle,
I'm only going in
is
there.
all the danger. All the things you should be cautious about. And people will go shoot for this hole right here. Ain't got a lick of aim. And
my aim is good.
And you talk about, man, listen. But I mean, again, so back to the video. I mean, I feel,
my heart hurts for her, because I understand which I empathize. Mm-hmm. I really do. I empathize for the period of time, even though my period of time was short, and it was because of the postpartum depression. If her world feels anything like what that small bubble felt for me, my heart breaks for her and that kid, because they're both suffering.
Right.
I hope they get the help and support that they need to be happy mother and child.
That's the saddest part about it. But for me, I feel like people need to really consider practicing foresight. That's just me. No, you can't tell the future, but you can make an estimated guess. Or educated guess on, some things that may come up. Have some conversations with some people. Do some research as much as possible. Because a goal is one thing. But creating an actual human being, that's a totally different thing. Because this living, breathing, thinking, eating, pooping, peeing thing that you're bringing into fruition, that's different than getting to a level on your job. So foresight is a thing that I think would help a lot of people. I think it would help a lot of people, and I just really hope that the child doesn't see that video. It is what it is. I'm sorry. Close us out, man.
That's it. Like, share, subscribe, hit the notification button. We'll see y'all next time.
Peace.
Night.